Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Fridays at. Today it's Fridays at 4, where I am. What about you? We change the times of these things regularly to fit, I don't know, life and who's presenting and all kinds of things. So this time around, it's at 4 o'clock, and I'll just say right now that 2 weeks from now, I think, I'll double check in the community. We have a nice session coming up on color bees. So a color bee would be like a spelling bee, only without the spelling. And we have a program down in Florida that's been using the spelling bee concept to heighten engagement among their students in their program wide. And that's Aviva Katzenell and her team at Florida Atlantic University. So join us a couple weeks from now, and you'll see they're presenting, but earlier in the day. Okay. So this is sort of my get oriented moment of the day. Let's just make sure we all are familiar with, or folks that are watching the recorded session, that we're familiar with how people find what we're doing and what's coming up. Let's see here. We've got the teacher community. Yeah. Our events show up down below. You can see that this is live right now. If somebody walks into the room, they click and they've got the link for this room. Okay. Little blurb, etc. So 2 weeks from now on September 13th is our color bee, and that'll be at 11 a.m. Eastern, and you can join us for that. If you look when you're on this page, which is accessible from learn.colorvowel.com, you can join this group and then show that you're interested, and you'll get that 24-hour reminder. Okay, it's also a great place to post questions like Doug's. Here's my segue. Earlier this week, Doug posted a question about minimal pairs featuring blue moon and wooden hook. I posted something, and then some other folks posted here verbally. So I'm going to stop share. And see, that wasn't so painful. I did my little intro, and we're back to the topic. So it's interesting. There aren't a lot of blue moon versus wooden hook minimal pairs, are there?
Wooden hook is pretty rare in general. I mean, I think it's rarer that maybe only turquoise toy is rarer than wooden hook. What have you found, Karen, in terms of
Yeah.
frequency?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that both. If I look in, I used to create the word lists in Blue Canoe, like what words exist in there, and also in spelling exploration, our level 2 course for teachers, we explore spelling patterns and frequencies of sounds in the texts that we use. So every time we read a story or listen to something, we're looking for all those words, and we just don't find many, not many words that are wooden. Okay. But you found a few more, Doug. What are you doing with those?
Oh, they're in the Intercambio book. It features that in one of the lessons.
I see.
It features those two sounds, but it doesn't do any minimal pairs. They put in their little fun book. I think they have like 3 pairs, and I just really needed more than that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna just put on my, I don't know, my analytical glasses for a minute and ask a question. What do you think it says when you realize there just aren't very many of those, and that the ones that we've found in that sort of discussion we had in the teachers community, there are only a couple that are really useful, just for everybody's edification. You can think in the chat too if you know of them, but like pool pull, fool full, hood hood, like who'd go if they could, and then hood, like a hoodie, suit, soot. I can't remember the last time I needed soot, although I know it exists. And kooky and cookie, which is my favorite pair because both of those words are important to me.
Mhm.
I often feel kooky, and I do love cookies. But beyond just that handful of blue wooden minimal pairs, what do you think it says that there just aren't very many?
I know. Am I allowed to answer?
Well, and notice that I'm not asking why. I'm asking what
Okay.
does it say about, in this case, Doug's quest,
Uh,
Intercambio's decision to have a section of the book on that. What are the implications?
It's difficult.
it,
Because it's difficult, I would suspect they didn't have many words. That might
Meaning,
not be the reason.
so you're saying the
English.
sounds are difficult, the distinction is difficult.
Yes.
there are some languages that do not have that distinction, and it's hard for them to catch it in English when they,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think there's a lot of words in both categories. There's just not a lot of them that are minimal pairs.
So then what, I don't know. I mean, how important is it then to make a distinction? Like, is that our biggest, most pressing problem?
No.
I'm Keenan. Hey, you're here. What about you? Does this come up? Did you spend a lot of time on wooden and blue?
It is in the Clear English Academy curriculum because a lot of my students really want to be able to differentiate those. But we do talk about how there are only like not even 50 high frequency words, but some of the wooden hook words are really common, like good, book, would, could, should. So it's not a matter of, it's not affecting intelligibility if you're using blue over wood. So it's really your personal preference, how much time you as a learner would want to spend on that.
Yeah. And
Well, there's
so this
another
is,
problem with the minimal pairs is I probably spend as much time trying to tell them what those words mean,
Oh, really?
defining those
Yeah,
words
if you have
as we do
too many
talking about the
rare
sound.
words. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, probably any time you're spending time on a word that's so rare that no one knows what it is, it's like, ah.
yeah, it is. It's starting to sort of tick off some boxes that are worth thinking about. Robin, you want to mention something there?
Yes. So the just yesterday, I guess, no, the other day, we were looking for middle pairs for d and the, and somebody came up with bathe, bade, and then you think, well, nobody uses the word bade anymore, and what is that? And so it's not really a helpful one. But what I wanted to say historically is that historically the wooden sound is just the relic of an older stage of English where most of those wooden words turned into mustard. So the only ones that are left are the ones that were before L or before sh. So we have push, and we have well, we have would and could, which used to have L's, and there's that's still there in the spelling. And then we have the words that are created anew, like what did you come up with? Could and could, but food is coup plus ed plus past tense, right? So originally there wasn't a distinction there. So we have the oo and the blue and the wooden, and the mustard and the schwa wound up not being distinct in a lot of dialects of English. Just a few examples. If you talk to Gemma, right? If our Scottish speaker, she has a merger of the wooden and the blue, right? Is that right, Karen? Do you remember?
That's right.
Which was that the one?
Yep, and she gets along just fine.
Well, I know they're quite rare because when I look for something like that, I always start at the Clear English Academy blog, and I couldn't find anything there. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, any other thoughts out there from folks who are listening in? I see some other visitors. It can seem so important, right? And yet, I think sometimes the data is worth looking at is how many words are really out there that depend on being that specific as wooden. And meanwhile, silver versus green. Now there's a little
Yes.
tricky area that causes a lot of misunderstanding. Or say
And it's the
gray
same
versus red.
difference, right? It's just that we have a hole where wooden would be, and where we one of the interesting things about wooden is that a lot of times it winds up being unrounded. So you might say, instead of push, you might say push, push, which is because we don't have anything that contrasts with it up in that area.
Yeah. We do have a Vowel yoga video that kind of helps build on what Dr. Barr has just mentioned. We certainly, honor students' concerns. So Keenan mentioned if it's a priority for the learner, we certainly don't want to discount that. But then we need, as teachers, I think, to make careful decisions about how much time we spend on it. So we can address a student's concern and yet not be putting so much time that we aren't spending time on the higher frequency issues, the things that happen more often. Yeah.
I have a question for Keenan. Keenan, you said you were working with your students on this, and a lot of them use blue instead of wooden.
Mhm.
Do you find that they are misunderstood, or do they find that they're misunderstood if they say, I could do it, or something like that? Because I think there's some problems with, I guess if you have a word with a W in front of it, like woman, sometimes that's very hard for the speakers who don't distinguish the blue and the wood. It comes out woman. But I'm curious about what your students have discovered. I know you said they want to be able to do it, but is there a reason that have they run into trouble with it?
Yeah.
It's not typically an issue of being misunderstood. Like
Yeah,
very
that's
rarely,
right.
like you're saying, Robin, it might be word specific with some of those words like wood and woman that have the W also. But it really is just a desire to be able to hear and speak that sound. And it's a great discussion about whether this is when you're super busy, is this something you want to spend time on? How important is it to you? And then go from there. But yeah, not usually intelligibility.
Yeah. Hey, well, thanks everybody for that opening conversation. That, we like to take questions and topics that have come up. Want to welcome Doug and others who were today at the Intercombio conference. We had some interesting questions come up there, and fun to have Doug at both of those. I also see some new faces and names. We're so glad to have you. Let folks know this is a free session we hold once a month for teachers, and we do start with questions or comments, and then we move into our main topic. Today's main topic, drum roll. Zoom doesn't like this part, but yeah, drum roll. Today's topic is VoiceThread. So, we had kind of the big shocker back in, gosh, what was it? Jennifer's in the room and can text. It was something like May or June. I think it was June 10th that Flip came out. That was our video tool that we've used for well over 10 years. Flip came out with the news that they just weren't going to exist anymore for the public. Who cried? Raise a hand. I cried. Yeah, I cried. Okay, we cried. I got mad. I went through all the stages, denial, resistance, I don't know, all those things. And then we had to move along pretty quickly. And so after a pretty short while, Jennifer did a bunch of great research with her group and our teachers, and we found VoiceThread as our best option. Jennifer raised a hand. I don't know. She says, okay, if you raise a hand again, I'm going to call on you again. But yeah, we decided on VoiceThread, and VoiceThread is similar to Flip in the respect that it's a way for teachers and learners to interface with video. But there are some differences, and some of those are wonderful differences, and I'm really getting into that. So who else is in the room that's already been using Flip? I'm sorry, VoiceThread. Who's been using VoiceThread for, say, more than a month? Okay, Keenan, you've used it for years? Tell us.
I was right in the trenches with June getting that email. I'm like, what? And then needed to transition. So we started using VoiceThread the first week of July. So it's been what, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. And so part of, I'll just kind of zoom up a level and mention part of our passion at Color Vowel and English Language Training Solutions is not just vowels, it's the use of technology in teaching and helping teachers with these kinds of transitions. Well, in this case, we're all doing this together. anyone who's already on this path. And if you haven't yet started with VoiceThread or are intrigued by it, maybe today will be some information for you to walk away with too. Okay. Some comments from the chat. Yeah, Sharon, you're right. There are several tools. I think there's a tech trend. I don't think it's my imagination. And that is that the big kind of the tech giants have been out there purchasing the small innovative apps for quite some time. So it's not surprising that now they're either taking them out of the public eye, leveraging them in some other way, possibly shelving them, which is, I think, what's happening with Flip. That's just my take. Because the only place you can find it now is in Microsoft Education Teams. And it's so buried in there. It's only those folks who use Microsoft Education that can use it, which is a shame because it's so powerful. What else is out there that's going away? Jamboard. If anybody uses Jamboard, it was kind of handy, super
I
friendly.
use it all the time. What am I going to do?
You know, Google Slides, that's going to be, I think it's a great
Yeah.
tool. It's not the same, but it's pretty handy and pretty powerful too. Yeah. So maybe we
Yeah,
need to do another session on that.
yeah, my students have a harder time manipulating Google Slides than Jamboard because they're not tech savvy.
Right.
Mm.
Right. Those of us that work with, like Dr. Barr, who work with low tech literacy students, for whom it's a heavy enough lift just to be online. We really relished those tools that were simple, and Flip was also one of those. Okay.
Yeah.
If I had to wonder which tool could become unfree soon, I'm worried about WhatsApp. I have to say that out loud. And not for any news that I've gotten, but the trend tells me WhatsApp has been out there forever. It's free and it's so good. And so I'm worried. We'll see what happens, right? I don't mean to give you a troubling message on a Friday. You can ignore that.
Well, maybe this will spur somebody to find substitutes that we can use and volunteer to lead us through another Friday at session.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
That said, I think that the era of free tools is going to be shifting as a thing. I think we really are coming through that era and things will become more and more paid. And maybe that's, that's part of what I'm going to say now about anybody who studies with us. Oh, it hurts. We had to buy it. We had to buy into VoiceThread now. Flip was always free. And our students have to buy into it now too. So it's just as a internal note, it's $24 for a person to have an annual account where they can post within VoiceThread. And so if you do study with us, you'll see that there's that fee associated that's separate. You have to go and do it yourself in VoiceThread and pay. So that's a big shift for us as well, as far as making it very accessible to many people, but it's one that we're doing. Okay. I'd love to show you what VoiceThread can look like. And to do that, I've created a shell course, or a sandbox, if you want to think of it like that. So here, I'll start with, you can see the bigger frame of VoiceThread that I have this account and that I have a lot of courses here, right? But one of them is the Fridays at Sandbox, and it's right here. So when I go into that, I have some instructions waiting for us right there. Those instructions I can minimize, and you can see that I have a slide here. So we'll call it a slide. And when I look at my doc, I actually have 2 slides up here for now. Okay. So the one, if you're writing down or if you're just trying to think of essential concepts, you've got a voice thread, which is going to be this thing. You'll see it grow. The thread is on the left. This item is the prompt or the slide, and it's usually fairly large. I can zoom in or I can zoom out. Okay. The thread part of it comes when you see somebody's post or you want to post your own. I can post a comment, and I can post that comment as a video, as an upload, as a voice text or a voice message, audio comment, or as simple text. So And Jennifer, you can text here for me. Until just now, I only would see 3 of those, which is fascinating. So until an hour ago, I had not been seeing the audio option. So I'm not sure if that was just, it's kind of interesting. So now there are 4. That's great. Okay. I can leave it. I can decide to post again. What will I post? Let me go ahead and post a video. That's our, for us in Color Vowel, that's the most common way that we ask folks to post. And I will say, part of the reason we ask you to post in video in our Color Vowel courses is to get teachers accustomed to seeing themselves in video, because I know that's uncomfortable for most of us. So you get a lot of time getting used to this. What's neat about this is I can stop recording, okay? And then like Flip, I can record more after it saves. Say, part of the reason we ask you to post, okay, I've got all that. I could listen to it. I could cancel if I hated it, needed to re-record, or I could record more. And if I hit record more, here I am recording more. When I finish that, I can stop again. And it processes to look like this. If you could, someone in the room could use a mute. Part of the reason we ask you to post in video in our Color Vowel courses is to get teachers accustomed to seeing themselves in video, because I know that's uncomfortable for most of us. So you get a lot of time getting used to this. What's neat about this is I can stop recording, record more. Here I am recording more. When I finish that, I can stop and I can save that. Okay, now it processes and I now have 2 items in my what? In my thread. Okay, there's the thread of VoiceThread. It's not quite a thread yet, but it has a couple of, let's say, beads over there in the gallery, and we're going to thread them together in a sec. Okay, so this is my own post. This was also a post. My text images, or my text right here. Those are separate posts. I could now reply to this, and I'll just do that briefly with got it. Okay, something like short. Save that one. And you start to see a new kind of shape. And we're starting to form a thread off of this one post or comment. Any questions? All right. I posted a video. Part of the reason I also posted some text. I like to be consistent for the learner about what kind of thing they need to post, obviously. Okay. The other thing I'm going to
I have a
show.
question.
Yeah.
How do you make the initial post, especially with a slide and things like that? Because all I've ever done is reply
Yeah.
or make a second comment.
Yeah, so this is something that I made in Canva. So Canva, if you use Canva, you can raise a hand. I'm going to grab here, canva.com, not Canvas, canva.com. Okay, that's a free tool, but it kind of, I think it pays to pay for the subscription. But I make graphics there pretty easily. Okay, you can make them also on your own desktop through screen captures. I mean, you can do some pretty rough and ready graphic creation for no cost as well. But having a background in a little bit of graphic creation is useful. And I think I did give an example of that in a recent Friday's at on virtual backgrounds. That would be a helpful session for anyone curious about making these kinds of graphics. Okay, it's a good question, Robin. Other questions?
So how do you do how do you do the initial post?
Yeah, so the initial post, meaning how did I get this up here?
How did you start the thread?
Yeah. So the beginning of the thread is this slide. I created a slide. So I'm going to make a new one now.
Ah, okay, I see.
So the options when you're making a slide, which is your topic or your, sort of placeholder, is that you could upload a graphic from your computer. You could record a video slide right now, which I could. And I did. That's what's down here. I could copy from an existing VoiceThread that I've already made, so I don't have to do that work twice. I could do something from the outside. I could enter a URL. I could take a picture, or I could record an audio slide. Okay. So I could take a picture. I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to use our own Zoom room for a second, which, is something you might actually want to do. So let's take a picture. Ooh, I can't. I thought I might be able to do a screen capture. I'm going to cancel. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a screen capture, a picture of you all right now. So please smile into the camera. Ready? 1, 2. Okay. I just took a picture using a screen capture, just easy on my computer. And now it's a file. So I'm going to add from computer. There it is. And here's my recents. Desktop. There it is. Boom. And we will see, I hope, the right file. There we go. So I now have a third prompt, and I could use this for self-introductions. I love that idea, actually. There. So from here, I could say, hey, I'm going to post a comment from the teacher that says, what should I write? Post your self-introduction here. Provide a time limit, maximum of 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a long time. 1 minute. Remember that however many students you have, multiply that by minutes, and that's how much time, there's a lot going on there. You could listen to them with increased speed. We'll look at that in a second, but it's still, a lot of posts to give feedback on. Comments, questions. You like that? Hi now, good to see you, by the way. Haven't seen you for a while, yeah? From here, each learner will post. Nobody else is in this class right now. I've not added anybody, but those who are in the room, I could add Jennifer, for example. I could add someone else. I think just Jennifer right now, because I know she's in VoiceThread. But once you're in our group, I can add you, and you would add your comment. Okay. Video comment, etc. Okay. Now I want to show you my funnest thing, and then I'm going to open it up to your funnest thing. One of those options, remember when I was creating a new slide, was to record a video slide or upload a file. If you create a video-based slide like this one, something more is possible, and I think it's super neat. So I'm going to go ahead and play. Notice that I can adjust the playback speed. That's very useful, and that's
I
really
discovered that.
fast.
That was great. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a really helpful thing.
Yeah. So when I'm reviewing students' posts, 0.85 is a wonderful speed. It's just a little bit faster than listening in real time. Keenan,
No, slower.
I'm sorry, 1.5 to 125 is listening faster. I'm sorry. I saw
Yeah.
the confusion. Yeah. Going slower allows me to hear things like what? Glottal stops or strange things that are happening that I cannot catch or capture in real time. So if I want to listen more carefully, I slow down. I want to listen more quickly. I can handle about 1.5, and after that, it gets to be a lot for the content. And here we're just talking about speed, but if you take it all the way up to 2 or even 3, you can also hear things in different ways that you wouldn't notice in normal time. So you can hear intonation, for example, teachers. You can notice how much does it pop up and down versus kind of seem more of a rolling intonation. So fast speed, it has its own uses. I see a lot of nods. Can we have some additional comments on that? Just speed of playback. Hi, Keenan.
I love what you said about listening to it fast. If you're listening to a student recording, listening to it fast to hear some of those like intonation, rhythmic contrast. And then I have not pointed out this adjustment to my students. They can use it when they're trying to listen and imitate to just slow it down because that's so helpful. I didn't realize that was there. I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right about here, we start to sound a little bit inebriated, but for the listener who's a learner, it can be pretty handy for noticing things we wouldn't notice otherwise. It's great for mirroring and then speeding up slowly. Mirroring is when you follow a short bit of speech in real time with choral, sort of real time sync up voiced repetition. And then you can increase the speed until it's back to level, 1 speed. A little bit like TikTok, if anybody ever played with TikTok, the dance routines. If you go really slowly, enough said. I don't see enough nodding. Not that I'm a TikTok fan, but I have tried it. All right, so there's normal again. Okay, I'll play mine a little faster for the sake of time, and I want you to see what can happen though. Here we go. Hi there. So this is a slide that's obviously a video. It's one that you can record in VoiceThread, or you could upload a video that you already have that you want people to listen to and then maybe comment on. The comments can be either video responses, they could be written comments, or it could be a video that the person uploads as well. What's neat about these kinds of video-based slides is that the listener can post their comment and show exactly where they want to place their comments. So, if it's 1 minute into this video and I say something that they want to comment on, they can actually insert their comment right at that place. We'll see what that looks like. So hope this. Okay. I wanted to
That's
show you how
cool.
in real time I can adjust the speed, no problem. Other observations?
When you're talking fast, I noticed that your intonation is much more abrupt, and so you sound angry, which is which explains why in languages that have that uh, abrupt intonation fall, like Arabic, for example, English listeners often think that they sound angry when they aren't.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to share with you what this could really look like. This last part of what I said is really important, and it's something we can't do in Flip. So I'm getting to the first, to me, the biggest advantage of VoiceThread is this ability to make a comment on a place in the video. So here, notice that I have my cursor somewhere. Let's say I'm doing this. Where they want to place their comments. So, if it's 1 minute into this video, oh, I like that comment. Post their comment and show. Okay, so there's this moment I want to comment on. I hit comment, and I can still do some adjustments here. Like there's the beginning of my phrase. I can go back. I wish the video would move with my slider, like with video there. Sometimes it does, like that. Okay. Okay, enough looking at me moving in micro phrases. So now I'm ready to. I did that. And I'm ready to record or write, but I'll do voice just for the sake of voice. I think this is such a cool feature. There. Okay, I made a comment. This is such a cool feature. Now, all I did was record audio, and I realized I didn't actually play the piece that I was excited about. So I'm going to cancel, and I'm going to do this again. I think. Okay, so what was neat about this, I just thought this was a really cool feature, right? Listen to it. Can post their comment and show exactly where they want to place their comment. So, if it's 1 minute into this video and I say something that they want to comment on, that's what I think is really cool. You see what I did there? I actually played. Okay, so what was neat about this, I just thought this was a really cool feature, right? Listen to it. Can post their comment and show exactly where they want to. Okay. So this is pretty cool. It's kind of strange because right now it's me against me, and it's hard to kind of play out the potential. But what if I can save that, I don't care. What if I now upload, and I have permission to do this, by the way. I now upload a student video. Okay. So I'll get rid of that I'll just minimize that. But now I'm going back to my doc, and I want to create a new slide. I'm just going to stop share for a minute while I do that so I don't show everything to the world. But recently, a color Vowel teacher sent me something glorious and gave permission for me to be able to use it in some situations. So I'm going to share this video of a child student doing a chant. And I'm hoping this uploads right. Okay, let's see what's happening here. I'll share. We're hoping that this child morning chant finishes uploading. It could take a second. Okay. So we'll wait for that to finish processing and I'll open up the floor again. What's
I have a
lighting up
question.
for you? Yeah.
Can I record while somebody else is talking and then we're both saying or singing something in synchrony?
My immediate reaction is I don't think so.
Okay, because
I don't know.
that would be cool. I mean, it would be kind of like the TikTok example. You would be you'd be mirroring the
I see.
the model, and then you'd record at the same time, and then your voice would join to that one, and then the next person would join their voice to yours, and you'd have a chorus at the end.
I see what you're saying. I don't think so. That's a different kind of tool. That's a really good point. I do think that that's a feature in TikTok actually,
Yeah.
but not so much here. Okay. Other comments before we dive into this sample? Okay. Well, let's listen to a sample. This is a young learner, obviously online. She's on the video, and her teacher took a little video of this. Okay. She's been studying, obviously, sort of some simple sentence structure, but this particular chant that she's presenting is one she's been practicing separate from this background. So don't be distracted by what's behind her. Let's listen. And if you would, if you were going to notice something that's sort of your top of mind comment, where is that in this video? Ready? Let me change my audio so you can actually hear that. That was a little low. All right.
Let me tell your story. I always wake up at 7. I always wake up at 7. I always wake up. I always wake up. I always wake up at 7. I get dressed and have my breakfast. I get dressed and have my breakfast. I get dressed and have. I get dressed and have. I get dressed and have my breakfast.
I'll stop there. I know the sound isn't perfect. It's from a computer to a phone. Okay. Was anybody thumbs up if you were able to hear something?
I heard I get dressed and have my breakfast.
There we go.
Something like that.
And have my breakfast. So you can turn up the video on your own computer, Cindy. That might help. And I know it's not perfect, but it was available. So then we might be listening in terms of just actual language and understanding. Did anyone notice anything? I'm going to play it once more, and then we can make a comment.
Voiceless vowels.
Oh, interesting, Robin.
Your story. I always wake up at 7. I always wake up at 7. I always wake up. I always wake up. I always wake up at 7. I get dressed and have my breakfast. I get dressed and have my breakfast. I get dressed and have. I get dressed and have. I get dressed and have my breakfast. I go to school happily. I go to school happily. I go to school. I go to school. I go to school happily.
There, I'll stop there. 3 different sentences chanted by this child, right? Susan, I see you have your feedback expression on your face. What are you thinking?
Oh, I was just thinking, for my dialect, I would work on my black cat Happy a little bit, but she's so cute. That's the main thing I was thinking. Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah.
That was distracting me a little bit. She's so cute.
She's adorable. It turns out there's a little story behind this. It helps us make sense of the sentences we heard. She's only 10, and she came to her tutor who provided us with this video, and thanks to that. She went to her tutor all stressed out because her teacher and the school are going to test her on adverbs of, what would those be? Adverbs of emotion or So what were the adverbs we've heard? It wasn't happy.
Time, is it always? I heard it always.
Yeah, I always wake up at 7. That was one of the sentences. And the third one was, I go to school, and a lot of us heard happy, but she's saying
Oh.
happily,
Okay.
saying happily, but it doesn't sound like happily, right? There's also, so listen to that one more time. Listen to the always and listen to the happily, and we'll decide what we want to say. This is the kind of thing, by the way, this is what we do in coaching practicum, level 2 coaching practicum. It's also the kind of feedback we prepare to give learners in Speak Confidently. I'm looking at you, Gabriella, who's a veteran of Speak Confidently. So we learn how to just watch a video, and now because of VoiceThread, we can leave feedback exactly where this thing is happening. Instead of saying, you know, at 1 minute, 32 seconds, you said it like this, we can just show them how they said it. That's pretty cool. Keenan, are you already doing that kind of thing?
Like that has been the coolest thing. And like you can go right to the point and you can either leave a text comment or a audio or a video.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you could do the audio and still keep the video playing. I've been doing that with video, but not audio. It really allows for very pinpointed feedback. It's great.
It is great. Let's see what that looks like. Here we go.
At 7. I always wake up at 7. I always wake
Okay, so I have feedback. My feedback is I can hear that it's always, but I had to lean in a little bit to decode or to process that she's saying always. Susan, I see you nodding. Why is that? What do you
It's
hear?
almost as if she's condensing it. I want to say into one syllable. I'm not sure if
Yes.
that's true or not, but I need to
No,
hear
that's what I hear
uh,
too.
2 more distinct syllables there. I want to hear that kind of L as a divider a little more clearly and work it into 2 syllables.
Yeah. And she's
Yeah,
just
I'm hearing the same thing. I'm hearing the reduced vowel winds up being eliminated or being made voiceless, which to an English ear means not there. So breakfast and always and 7.
There's a lot of reduction going on there. And she's a native speaker of it's either Belarus or Ukrainian. There was a third that was an option that this tutor works with these language groups. So my understanding is those languages have reduction. They're stress timed like English. And so she's over reducing. What happens in always, everybody? Always. What's interesting about that word? Always. The child is saying always. So what does
Or
Can I, can
Hi,
I come?
Natalia.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, because it's actually if she's from Ukraine, so because we don't have this wa sound, yeah, that's why it's like alls, alls.
Yeah.
This is what I heard. It's like I alls wake up, I alls wake up, alls wake up.
Oh, thank you for that insight. So it's additional to the stress reduction. It's also, or sorry, vowel reduction. It's also this consonant W in this word. That's very enlightening. So what can we tell her?
She just need to slow it down. I think she still has like problems with pronunciation of this W sound, like wa. It's hard for her. That's why it's easier to eat it. I alls, I alls, I alls.
Yeah.
So she needs a lot of training.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can just give a little bit of training, because sometimes a little can go a long way. So I'm just going to take my try at this. Here's my comment. Hello, beautiful child. Hey, I hear you saying something like always. I always wake up at 7. And here's what I'd like to hear, and you can try this with me. Always, 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 always. Then always wake up, always wake up, always wake up, always wake up. Would you try that? Practice with me and then just record that back to me as a thread. That's what I want to hear. Always and always wake up. All right, see you there. I don't know, I just made that up, but what I want is something very small, very practice-based that she can respond to having practice. Hello, beautiful child. Hey, I hear you saying something like always. So I modeled a little bit what I heard, and then I contrast it with what I want to hear. And then what does that look like? So that was my tiny bit of feedback. It's processing, but this is the cool part. When it comes out, we're going to see a nice little indicator of where this is, and then we can play it. All right. So now if you look carefully, there's a little dot down there. And you know, I want to acknowledge everything I'm doing today. I have learned from Jennifer, who's in the room but cannot join us. I know that. So Jennifer, kudos to you. You know, you trained me fast. Thank you for this. There's the little cursor, and that says, hey, there's feedback right there. So now that learner can do this. Watch. Hello, beautiful child. Hey, I hear you saying something like, oh shoot, I didn't play her video. I failed on that. Can you forgive me? But it will play her video like it did before in that other example. Shoot. But anyway, the point is I could make multiple comments throughout her video and she could read, she could watch the video or read the text feedback. Okay. That wasn't so smooth on my part. Okay. So the child comes back, she sees this, and she sees the others. When I ask her to practice with me in post, she then can, hold on. She can now, I always wake up at 7. And here's what here we go. I minimized and I maximized because what I want her to do is reply to me like this. So then the child comes in, I'm the child, I always, 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 and then always wake up, always wake up. She does her homework and posts to me, right? And then this shows up as the thread of VoiceThread. Child, boom. So here's the child, everybody. I know it's hard when I don't have a real child, but anyway, that's the child replying to the teacher. This is the teacher replying to the child's post. We know exactly where it happened. And if I were skilled or thoughtful at the moment, I would have played her voice for her. I'm still getting used to that option. So exciting.
Well, I'm wondering if you could play your voice and record on top of it.
Okay.
So that's what I was wondering about before.
Okay, let's give that a try. Here we go. Let me see what I can do with you. Get up. I get dressed and have, I get dressed and have, I get dressed and have my breakfast. I think that's what you want, right, Robin?
Yeah.
Okay. I now can stop recording. I recorded all of that. Tiny little glitch. I mean, not glitch. Let me see what I can do with you. Here we go. I get dressed and have, I get dressed and have, I get dressed and have my breakfast. Okay, so what we've just moved into is what we call test kitchen. We're really trying this.
Yeah.
What do you think? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
The synchrony is pretty good, but the sound quality is not as good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if what we want is the rhythm, then that works.
Yeah. So she could prove to me that she did it, and that's its own win, because I'm always trying to train people to repeat with the model. And I could verify that she's able to do that, right? Even though the quality is not great. Neat. Other comments? Questions?
Okay, quick question. So are you saying that we can stack? Okay, so we've got the original recording, then we give feedback in another recording. Can then the student watch our recording and practice with it?
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, record themselves practicing with it. Like that, I haven't.
No, you're
used
right.
Okay, that's That's not.
Can you comment on a comment? Yeah,
Exactly.
or
I think
reply.
that's the right question. So here's the teacher's comment. Hello, beautiful child. And I want her to practice with me, but that feature's not available at this level. It's
She
only
can
available.
practice with you, but she can't record it to show herself practicing with you. She can only record it to say, here's my practice after I practiced with you.
Now, what I could do is I could download this video, which I just did. We're getting very meta here. This is kind of, I then can come back out here to my doc. I can now post another thing. I can add it from my computer. I can take that little video right there and post it. And now I could ask her, I mean, I would have to train her in the tech skills. I think that's what we're getting to.
That
Get
would be too
more
much.
and more complex for this
Yeah.
child.
We're
So
gonna have to do some experimenting. This is a good sandbox to use.
yeah, can I do it? I can do it now. But will I do it? It depends on who's on the other end. Some of us teach clients that are very, tech savvy, but I'm not going to do that to this child. That'd be a lot. All right. What else? Keenan, is there something else you're doing? I don't have to look at that. I'll look at that. Keenan, is there anything else you're doing in VoiceThread that I've not mentioned? Some other neat trick?
Did you can do the drawing on the slide, like for feedback. Just the other day, I was helping a student with man, and I was visually drawing like a little stair, like to try to separate it a little bit to get that
Ooh,
glide into the end. And I used the little draw feature. It's the first time I'd used it.
okay. Show me, direct me.
Where's that?
Okay, so
Let's say I want to draw on here. Can I do
okay,
that?
make a comment, go to your comment,
Okay.
and then a video or a audio probably would work.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Oh gosh, you're live.
Okay.
Now that little yellow squiggle, right? So click there
Oh my gosh.
and you can choose your color. And so you can write a little note anywhere, just like you've done here. You can pick any spot in the recording. And it'll pop up like magic.
Oh my
And then
God.
it disappears. And I think you can change the setting for whether it stays on the whole time or
Oh,
whether it pops up and disappears rather quickly.
otherwise,
Oh my
I'm doing
gosh.
this. I'm chasing it. Okay, so I can go here and say no fade. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to recommend right now. I can tell you that writing with this is not easy right now. Maybe if I use,
Ew.
I might have a tool where I could use my mouse pad that way, but I don't right now. But I
You want
could.
to stop recording?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
sort of doing that, right?
Yeah, it's very much like for shapes and like big, broad markings. Like it would be cool if you could go in there and type in something right there, but you can't. It's hard to write. It's not going to come out super pretty. But yeah, you can do, like intonation curves or
Yeah. The birds chirp at night or whatever. The birds chirp in the morning, something like that.
Mhm.
Okay. And then I stop recording. What does that look like? I mean, it's true because now, yeah, I wonder what the recording looks like many of us do. So we'll see.
You're live.
Okay.
Now that little yellow squiggle, right? So and
I can go here and say no fade. Okay.
oh, there we go.
Okay. But I could easy right now. Maybe if I use well,
Oh yeah.
sort of
And type in something.
so we see what's going to happen there. She's going to watch the feedback. It's going to I'm going to say I want you to do this, or I hear that, and then that will be here as a post for her. Huh.
Oh,
Nice, Keenan. Very nice.
That's handy.
And I can do that in audio feedback or video feedback, or maybe
Yeah.
in text feedback.
Yeah, I'm curious about the text now that you're because I noticed that the text feedback gives you a time. So can you text feedback and play the video accordingly also? Like match that up? I only thought you could do that with video, so I'm like, oh my gosh.
I can't do it with text. You have to.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That
All
makes
right.
sense.
So that's not possible, but it is possible with both voice and video.
Very cool.
Okay, so we now have 3 comments down there, and learner can either just click child, I'm the child. Okay. She can go here. Let me see what I can, and she can go here. Okay. I guess it's not ready yet. Okay. Wow. What else? We have 4 minutes. This has gone by really quickly, right?
Oh,
We get
wow.
15 minutes of discussion about wooden and blue. We had a good session on VoiceThread. I think I learned a lot. I know I did.
How long can you make a recording for? You said that was a limitation that you found difficult.
You can make your voice thread like, oh God, it's a lot, like up to like hundreds of slides and like
Oh,
go,
okay.
yeah, like you could do like a course and people they do their courses using a voice thread and then students are replying at certain portions of the lesson. You can also adjust the time of comments. So like if you want to limit the comment time, maybe you talked about that, I think, Karen, where you can only limit it to 2 to 10. But the actual voice thread that you're creating with the different sides has a really broad capability for time and amount of slides.
So the initial slide can be as long as you want.
There's some kind of limit, Robin, but I can't think exactly what it is at the moment. I'm not using it for long lessons. But if I thought about like maybe that would be a cool way to do a little course and you could do little lessons easily without going over the time limit.
They have certain constraints that you actually can work around. Bye-bye now. Have a good day. Thank
All
you.
right, bye now.
So there's a lot we haven't covered about settings and what the free version, but I did leave a link here for you. You can look into the different kinds of licenses, especially if you're say part of the reason we ask you to post in video in our color Vowel courses. That was weird. Volunteers will want, and teachers, you'll want to explore what the free account offers and what different levels offer, as we did. We certainly did too. Okay. Wonderful. Who feels, let's do some thumbs up, thumbs down. Who feels like they're a little more comfortable with the idea of VoiceThread? Thank you.
I was at a 1 and now I'm at a 2.
Okay. out of 3, out of 10. Okay. Coming up, by the way, we have again a session on running a color bee, either for your class or in your program to boost engagement in your program. A really neat way of basically taking advantage of the idea of, I don't know, the word is incredible. What color is incredible? And the learners know, but they're gamifying that. So let's see what Aviva and her crowd are up to 2 weeks from now over in the teachers community. Also coming up, I am offering the phonemic and phonological awareness for young children workshop. I offered that back in June. It was really successful. I developed it further and I'm giving it again. So that's coming up in September on the 20th, and that's available in our academy under workshops. We always have courses starting. We've got grammar with Jennifer coming up in September. Grammar, what's it called? Grammaring the color vowel way. And we're also offering color vowel yoga. So if this discussion of blue and wooden was intriguing and feels new, or if you want to know more about green and silver and how we can teach with the chart in a sort of a physical visual way, that's what we do. I want to thank everybody for being here, especially Keenan. You brought all your mad skills and new awareness with you. Just everybody, great to see Natalia. I want to encourage you and everybody, Anne and Anna, come back again. I love seeing you. I've seen you over in the extension course and now I get to see you live. So I appreciate that. Pure English Practice will start up back in September. So if you've been missing Pure English Practice, watch the Pure English Practice updates, and I'll be seeing you then. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Be safe, be well, and we'll see you soon.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.